Good morning. Thank you for joining our session entitled Let's Do More Support Using GoGuardian. So, many of us, as you all have continued using Zoom inside of your classroom to provide instruction, we have encountered some issues with students having internet trouble. Maybe their device is not staying on Zoom, the call is dropping in and off. And so we have to come up with creative ways to ensure that our students are still receiving quality instruction as well as quality feedback as they progress through the content. So, GoGuardian has a new feature that will allow teachers to use less Zoom but still provide more support. So, today, our learning objectives, or our session objective, is one, learn how to utilize the video conference feature in GoGuardian, as well as learn how to create groups in GoGuardian. All right, so let's take off. All right, so we're going to actually start with making a call to an individual student. And I do want to say that the bit.ly for this presentation is going to be throughout the presentation. So if you do want to access this presentation, I will have a slide at the end that will give you the bit.ly that is case sensitive for you to be able to access the actual slide presentation that does have information on the bottom of every slide in regards to directions and kind of resources for each directions. All right, so I'm going to jump off of this slide and let's actually go into a live session. So right now I'm logged inside of my Teacher GoGuardian account, all right? And I need to select a class that already has my students in there, okay? So please make sure that you have already added your students inside of your classroom. That way, this is how you can call your students and also provide support. So I'm gonna click on the class, okay? And I'm gonna click Start Session. All right, so I click start session, and so now I do see the students' information, what they're doing has popped up. Now there's more than one way to call a student, and I'm gonna walk you through both ways that you can call a student. Okay, so up here you do see a tab that says call students. So I'm gonna click that tab that says call students. At this time, it's giving me some options of how I can call a student. So number one, I can do a voice call only. So that is if maybe a student is having issue with internet and I just want to call, or maybe we don't necessarily have to video conference. I can do a start voice call only call. Okay, that's an option. I can also do a video call. So this is almost an alternative to Zoom, right? So if I do a video call, it's going to call the student, and I'm also going to be able to see the student, as well as the student is also going to be able to see me. Okay, that is very powerful because sometimes the students do need to be able to see, our face. And the last one is I can actually start a lecture with my students. So I can actually share my slide, and through this call that I'm having with the students, I'm actually able to provide actual instruction for the students using this feature. So right now I'm going to do click start video call, and I click that. And so now it's telling me, okay, here are your video call settings. So I'm going to enable my camera. I'm going to enable my microphone. Okay. And the option right here to record this call, this is actually has been disabled. So you're not going to be able to record the call that you're having with your students. Okay. So I've provided all the settings, and then I'm going to come down here to where it says select students. I click select students, and right now it is providing me with the students that are currently on. Okay, you see here it says I can select up to 40 students. So after that, I'm unable to do so. Okay, now there's also some options up here. It says I can mute all students as they come in, and I can also disable student webcams. So I'm going to click disable student webcams just for privacy currently right now, and I'm going to click mute all students, so that way when they first come in they're all muted and their webcams are off. So I'm going to select the student that I would like to call, and I'm going to click call. All right, so now what it's doing, it's opening up another tab to which it is now using to call the student. Okay, so I can toggle back and forth and still monitor my students while I'm making this call to the student. Okay. So I'm going to come over here and it's telling me connecting. And now it's telling me it's waiting for the student to answer. Once the student answers, it is connecting. Now I am able to see what the student is looking at. Remember, I disabled the camera, so you're not able to actually see the camera. The student is muted, but now I am on a call with the student. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end this call. So right here, it says I can allow students to unmute. So now if the student would like to talk, the student can unmute themselves and I can click allow camera. This will give the student an opportunity to allow themselves to be seen on camera. Okay, so now you see I have the live student screen that I actually we're viewing right now. So I'm going to go ahead and end this call. Okay, so now it's telling me that I've ended the call with the student and I'm okay. So I'm going to close this tab out because right now what's happening is now I can still go back and I can still monitor my students. Okay, so I showed you one way to call a student. There's another way to call a student. So at this, if you look on the screen, I can select the box next to their name. When I do that, I can come over here and I can click call student. So now what am I doing? Now I am calling the student. There's more than one way to call a student. Now it's going to take me to the same screen that I was before, in which it was telling me, okay, I'm ready to call. We have to make sure these things are on, okay? So we're not going to call the student again. So that's how I could call one student. If I wanted to, I could call all of these students at one time. And that way, at that time, I actually will have 4 students on one call. And remember, you can not have more than 40 students on one call. All right. So we kind of walk through how to start a call with a student. Let's talk about how you could actually use this feature inside of your classroom. So I'm thinking, with the ability to call your students and have them in this small setting, not on Zoom, because my other students, as you saw when I called, were still working on whatever assignment what was assigned to them. So at this time, while my students have gotten off Zoom, they're doing work. I can call these students that maybe I need to provide intervention strategies with these students. Maybe there's a group of students that have exceeded or mastered the content and I want to be able to provide them some type of extension activity. But I want to also provide them instructions on my expectations. I can call those students. Or what if I want to have a feedback session? So the students are progressing through a module, and maybe this is a check-in point, and I'm calling each student just to provide them feedback on how they have progressed through a module. Remember, feedback should be in time, and it should be in enough time so the students can redirect if they need to. Another ability is I can conference with students. Maybe I'm noticing that a particular student is not giving me their best. I can have a conference. What if I've assigned students group assignments? This is an opportunity for me to check in or call a group of students to provide them feedback on their group project, as well as provide teacher-led instruction or teacher-led group if I'm doing stations. So all of these are ways, and there's so many more reasons or ways that you can use this to integrate inside of your classroom to get the most out of it. Okay. So another feature that I also would like to go over is grouping. We group our students for everything. And this is one of the newest features that GoGuardian has had, the teacher GoGuardian has added. So if you look on our main screen, you see over here where it says student groups. I've already went through and created student groups, but I'm going to also walk through how to create these actual groups. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click student groups. I've already created student groups, but I'm going to click create new groups. Okay, at this time it's saying, do I want random groups or do I want custom groups? So let's say I'm going to use custom groups. Okay, so right now it's giving me all of my students that are in my particular classroom. And it's telling me that every student in my classroom has to be added to a group, and they can only be assigned to one group for this custom group, okay? So I'm going to change this group and I'm going to say, um, mastered content. So I have looked at my data and I said, hey, I need to create a group of students that I know have exceeded my expectation. And I need to group these students because I'm going to give them a different assignment. So I'm going to click these two students based on my data, what it said. Now they're added, okay? Now I need to click a new group and I'm going to say teacher support. This particular group is a group that need a little bit of teacher support with to proceed or to excel. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to select those. Okay, I've selected all of my students. I click next. And so now it's telling me name this set of groups. So I'm going to say that this is standard 4.02. Okay. This is not, these groups are not permanent. I can change whatever, whenever I want to. I can go back and edit these groups. So I'm going to click save and create groups. Okay, so now you see for this particular group, I have mastered content and now I have teacher support. So as I am monitoring these students, as I am calling students, I already have the students grouped and I can call based on groups. I can open up a tab based on group. I can exclude a group because maybe these group of students, they don't need me to be on Zoom because they've already mastered the content. So I'm going to allow all the other students to get off Zoom and I'm going to say, I'm going to call using GoGuardian call feature just this group of students because they need me. There's no reason for my whole class to stay on Zoom because all my class don't need me. So now I'm going to call these group of students and we're going to work through it and make sure these students are successful. But I don't want to always use those groups. So how do I change? I come back over here and I can say, oh, I want to use my other groups that I created. I have grade level groups. This is for the next standard. So now I have different groups. So none of your groups are always remain the same. You always have the ability to change or edit a group, or I can disable a group. So if I come back over here, I click disable groups and I can actually disable a group that I've already created. Okay, so this is another great feature that you can use inside of your classroom with GoGuardian. So we've talked about groups. How could you use this feature, or what type of groups would you create in your classroom? So I have database groups that I can create, maybe behavior-based groups that I can create. What about assignment-based groups? What if we have different assignment and I group my students? I can group, so I know that this particular group is doing this assignment. Let me just call this group because they're already in groups. There are so many different ways that you can use this feature to group your students based off whatever information you feel you would like to use. So with that being said, let's review our objective. Did we learn how to utilize the video conference feature in GoGuardian? Yes, we did. And did we learn how to create groups in GoGuardian? Yes, we did. I do want to say thank you for your participation in this session. If you need any type of assistance, please reach out to me. My name is Nicole Covington. I am a digital technology instructional facilitator for Hope County Schools. This is my email. This is our phone number, as well as an extension to make sure that you're able to contact me. This bit.ly at the bottom of the screen is a bit.ly that will allow you to access this presentation. It is case sensitive, so please make sure that you type it in as you see. I'm giving you a few minutes to make sure that you access that. And you don't only have to email me. You can also email our team as well. We all can provide you support. You can call or email us at any time. Our office hours is Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 6, and Friday, 8 to 4:30. Once again, that's our bit.ly. And I do want to say thank you so very much for your attention, and I hope you have a great day.